Okay guys, welcome to the stream again. So we're just going to do a part two follow on and look at where we're at in terms of the project. Once again, I have been using, just to give you an idea of where the music's coming from, Artlist. So I just swing it on out here. Artlist is fantastic for finding music. It's a 1 year subscription and it obviously suits videographers, I guess, that continuously make and produce and constantly create new commercials for clients. So it's a 1 year subscription. So I found a song on there. What we'll do is we're going to open up our project from last time and just continue on to this part two, if you've missed it all. Now what we did here, let's just have a look, is we're just messing around with laying down all the tracks, and we'll continue to do that. Now the other thing would be to, let's just bring in the song that we're going to use. I actually came across and downloaded it from Artlist. So we'll import the song that I'm liking. Let's have a look. Grab it. Once again, using the fast M2 drive, just in case you're wondering, are they worth getting? Definitely. If you're even considering getting a M2 drive. And remember, an SSD drive is connected via SATA cable. What I've obviously done is grab an M2 drive, which literally is connected straight into the motherboard. There's no SATA cable between the two, which is what this drive is. So we'll go into here, we're going to grab that music, and I can't stress that enough simply because it's so fast to use. Now we're going to drag it in here and hopefully you can actually hear the music playing. Let me just see if we can't get it working. Nope, that's the wrong song, gotta love it. Not the right song at all. Let me go back and find this song. Okay, what's going on here? Let me just double check the song that we brought in real quick on Artlist, and we're not getting anywhere, are we? Let's just see if we can't. I thought it was this one. It's going to bring it in that way just to save a bit of time. So we're going to get rid of that. That was actually a song that I used on a last. This has got to be it. Yep, that's it. So I found it really cool, and hopefully my client thinks it is too. Sometimes I take a few risks with music. So we'll get that playing through here. Let's have a look. Just make sure you guys can hear that. And we're going to do desktop audio. Just see if we can't hear that for a sec. There's just something cool about this song that I'm loving. And on Artlist, if we go to my checkout, got another song coming through. Yeah, let's check that out. Great. And we're going to go to Johnny's Music, and I'll show you which one it is. It's looking like it's Perfect Muse by... Just going to quickly show you who it is. This is the actual artist that we're playing. Might as well give him a bit of a shout out. This is a fantastic little song. Black Goldie, Perfect Muse, love it. So we're going to use that. Beautiful, love it. So once again, shortcut home. Let's go straight back. Now we're just going to get a quick look at what we've got. Okay, we've got that, and we've got, okay, the foils. Enough of that, obviously. We're going to move out of there. Show a bit of Terrence having fun at the basin, and then using all the shortcuts that I can show you, and hopefully they start working for me. Now, like I said, pressing the shift key means that you're pretty much track selecting everything to be able to jump your shortcuts. So I'm pressing the up and down arrows there, jumping in between. If I'm getting a bit bored of that and just want to track select here, up and down arrows will now just start working because obviously I've got the right track selected. So we'll go back into here and just going to hover over the video that we're watching. It's the sixth one, number 6. Just have a look to see if we're done with that. Have we got something in here that we want to use? Now, we're moving through this video pretty quick simply because the client wanted us to. We're just double checking if anything else interesting is happening. Not really. I think we're done with track number 6. We're going to go to 7 now. Bit more of the same. Yeah, I'm getting to the stage too where I'm not wanting to shoot too much. You don't want a ratio, and this is something I was thinking about when I was going home yesterday. You don't want to shoot, 20 hours of video to do someone's 30-second commercial, okay? In this case, it's looking like the client was even happy with 30 seconds. So the song doesn't even build up in that time, right? And I don't think 30 seconds is really going to do much. But having said that, what we will do is do about a minute and a half. Maybe this song starts to sound pretty good after that, and we'll get away with doing about a minute and a half. So what I'm looking for here is a bit more action. Maybe the camera's doing what I need it to, and that's probably where we're happy to go. So once again, using the same principle of just press the space bar to play, find that moment we're happy with. I'm just doing the fast reverse. Remember, I do I think it's a 15 frame jump with the shortcut, and I've set that up with the Razer Tartarus little, what's it called? So this little guy, I might as well show you again. This little dude down here, if I press that button there, it goes back, I think, 15 frames, and also the F5 key, it jumps 15 frames, and I've set that up as a shortcut because of the Razer keyboard. So if anyone's wondering what keyboards should I use or what's good to get, Razer is very good because it does allow you to do the shortcuts and control them really, really well. So what I did was, instead of pressing shift and pressing backspace, I think it's shift and backspace, and that jumps back 5 frames, I think it is, instead of 1, so you're jumping 5. I've got it so it's jumping like 15 to 20, and you can have as many as you want. The point of it is, though, we're trying to find that sweet spot, right? So rather than jump 1 or 2 frames back, or even 5, we just press once, twice, we're back about 20-30 frames. We press play, and about there is where we think it's going to happen, the action, and not quite, so we go about there now. Lift of the head, 1, 2, 3, and about there's enough. I like showing the massage because that's quite a nice little touch for him, so that could be a possible out point. Or we go about there, and I'm just trying to find the pace, so I'll go out with the O key and sharp jump. Let's just see what we got here. Yeah, that's about right. So the in. So I for in. We've marked these 2 points, and we're going to drop it in there with the full stop. Okay. As you can see, it's dropped it up here. That's not a problem. We just Control Z that. We're going to stay with the same track and have everything on the same track. It's not looking like a complicated shoot at the moment. And we can just double check where we're at here. Now, that's looking a bit unusual, isn't it? We've jumped to there, and then we've jumped to there. It doesn't quite work, to be honest. Let's just double check what's happening. What we might do instead is just grab that little clip, up and over, grab this one, press and hold shift to sort of snap. Okay, let's just see if that works a bit better. Drop that in there. We'll see how we go. Once again, press and hold shift. Doing some weird stuff there. So let's just go to the end of that track. Press and hold Shift again. Now we've got snapping turned on. It doesn't seem to be doing what I want, which is the snap there. So it's the S key. So snapping turned on and off. Let's just plus in, just press plus and make sure it's not missing anything. It looks like it's working. Look, we'll work out where that's going to sit. We might get away with it. I think it's going to be okay. It's not like, we've got to be too... And then Control S, every so often I do Control S. You know how Adobe is. They can crash on you at the worst possible time. So we're just moving along there. The problem we got here is it seems to be jumping the way I don't want. So what we might do, we won't do it just yet, but normally we'd probably do a cross dissolve there, just a short little cross dissolve between those two clips so that we don't have that crazy jump. Yeah, that's a nicer jump. So as you can see, the cross dissolve is going to help there. Now, we're not going to do it straight away because I think I'll leave it. But just in case, if I think I'm going to jump to After Effects, do anything crazy with that and bring that across, all I'm going to do is mark it here. Actually, I'll press Escape. I'll make sure the clip's not selected, and I'm going to mark the actual sequence rather than the clip, yeah? And I'm just going to put in here, press M again. We're going to go cross dissolve, which means I definitely want to cross dissolve here. I think I'm spelling it correctly. No, I don't think I need double S. Cross dissolve and yeah, and then I could put in here, this cleans up the cut between these two clips, right? Now you don't have to do a cross dissolve on everything, and I just might mark that with the purple just to make it a bit different, or whatever color, but you get the point. It's making it so it's distinct, and I can just hover over that, cross dissolve, this cleans up, the clip. So that's cool, I like that. Now, if we see that gets a bit funky again, we'll probably have to do another cross dissolve. Now, what we're going to do is see if there's anything else in here. I don't think so. It's pretty much the basin. We've had enough of that. Now, here's where it gets a bit interesting. Let's have a look. We're not going to stay through that, are we? Yeah, we liked seeing this and looking for that action. So one of the things we could do here, definitely not worry about that, but I like how he shifts across. So that might be our little moment of transition. Let's see if he fully fills the frame. He doesn't. Okay. So we're going to go back those 15 frames, go 1, pause about there, let's see, and go in. So that's the I key, of course. Bang, go out, and full stop. So press the full stop key. Let's just see what happens here. Yeah, that's not bad, right? So we just wanted his body coming across. We wanted it to be kind of a way of cutting. Now, if I really wanted to be creative on the day, I probably could have moved in a bit closer and let his whole body cover the full frame. Then it's a great fade to black almost, using his, but this sort of works, him coming across. And then let's have a look. We're going to jump to here. Okay, so just seeing if I've got something nice. I think I do. So let's just plus, so zoom in. And once again, using the shortcut. And just in case, like I said in the previous video, but if you're wondering about how to jump between your markers, add a marker is M. Go to the next marker, which obviously I've got my tourist, whatever the thing is called, the razor little specialness down there. Gamers obviously use these, but video editors, it's great. But go to next marker and go to previous marker. So I've clearly got the shortcut on this tourist thing I showed you earlier as Control-Shift-M to go to the previous marker. So I'm not sitting there doing all these crazy keyboard shortcuts. So now I just press the number 3. And then if I want to go to the next marker, I press the number 4 that I showed you on that. So what we'll do is you can also clear selected marker. The way you do that is by being on the marker and you actually clear it. So I'll show you what that looks like. I can jump like that, get rid of the marker, and then put it back in pretty fast as well. So you want to be able to do that when you're editing, because it certainly saves you a lot of time. And I can add that, jump to there if I'm happy with that, and like I said, just scrolling back. So let's just see, yep, happy with that, and then I might see that as the out point. Then of course jump back into, and I don't even think I have to jump back into the sequence. I think if I just press that we're in, let's have a look. Yeah, it went for that a little bit longer. Does it need to go that long? Let's just have a look. Possibly get away with stopping it there. So I can just drag it in, and it sort of gives us a bit shorter, right? And we're out of there, right? So I think it's better to be shorter than longer. The other thing to remember is, just in case you're wondering on some of these edits, some of you guys may not realize, but when you're trying to select a clip, a couple of shortcuts, you've got the backslash, which will show you the whole timeline quickly in the sequence. The home key, straight to the start of the sequence. End gets you straight to the end. If we press up arrow, we're jumping between the starts of all the clips, and if we're pressing the down arrow, we're actually jumping. If for whatever reason you've got this track selected and you press up and down, it actually works. But if we don't have it selected, let's have a look. You notice nothing's happening. Why is that? It's because you've got to press shift, and now your track, you're pretty much jumping between all your clips. The other thing to remember, of course, is, so when you're dropping in the video, when you've got this selected, what this means is it will drop it on that track up above, as you can see. Just in case you can't see that, it's dropped it up here, and that's because we've got it selected like that. So just Control Z that. It looks like this little section here is to do with whether or not the down and up arrows are allowing anything to happen. As you can see, I'm clicking away on the up and down, but nothing's happening. So this is what this is doing. This track selecting is for your arrow keys and jumping around up and down and things like that. So we're pretty much staying on this one track. We're not doing much of that B-roll stuff in this video edit, although you could certainly have one long clip down and then you assume that that's good. And then of course you can have your other tracking. The other thing that's helpful is track forward select. So essentially what that means is if I want to select everything in front of that, bang, it selects it all. If I don't want to be selecting the music track anymore, and I'm quite happy with that staying the way it is, I'm going to press the V key and just lock it, literally lock it down. Now when I select the track select forward, it leaves the music clip alone. So that's pretty cool. We've got the ripple edit, which we'll probably use. The C key gets us the razor tool for cutting, and we'll certainly be looking at that. The hand tool, which I generally think, let me just go back to the V. I think the hand tool is the H key. Yes, it is. So you can quickly grab that as well. Now, I have a feeling you actually can't hear the song because it's coming through my headset. You've got to love that, don't you? So you actually can't even hear this wonderful song that I've got playing, which means I have to get rid of my yeah, it's coming through the headphone and it's not coming through the desktop. Let's just switch that up a bit. Let's see if we hear it here. We can't. Give me one sec, guys. Sorry about that. I'm just going to quickly unplug one of these headphones. One of the joys of live streaming, anything that can go wrong will go wrong. Let's see if I can't even get this music to play. This is one of the frustrations here. Okay, now it doesn't want to work. Okay, so we're just going to quickly fix the preferences. Sometimes this does happen to you with audio, and you've got to go in and tell okay, when this sort of thing happens, like I'm pressing play, nothing's happening, just going to make sure we save the file. This is just one of those technical glitches. We're going to close the project and we'll reopen it again. So Adobe's wanting to crash. This is one of the reasons why I always save. As you can see, it's not responding. So we're going to have to do the following. This is normal for Adobe, believe it or not. Constantly this is happening. So don't be surprised. This is not anything out of the ordinary. So we'll go back again. Once again, why do I save constantly every few seconds? Control S, always be saving. So that's one of the rules of Adobe. So once again, go back in and we should see everything restored. It's because I probably pulled out the headset and it completely threw it. I'm going to at least get you to hear the song. Love it. Okay, so that was basically the song that we're using, and I think it sounds great. It's kind of a nice feel to it. So sorry about that, guys. We just had to jump around a little bit there, but as you can see, that does happen. Plus, plus, we zoom in. Now, the next thing we're going to do, as we can see, we'll reload that video. Now, those of you who are wondering, that there is the this little guy here. If I show you quickly, this is basically defining the work area, and it's brought about by that work area bar. I generally use it. I find that it's kind of handy, especially when you're trying to do quick renders and things. Just remember though, if you're having trouble with a project and it's not rendering the whole project and something's not right, when it comes time to export, later we'll show you how to do it. We go export media. It'll say, do you want to export the work area? And that is how you define it. So the whole song or whatever else, or whatever this clip's going to be, that's your work area. Okay, let's go back in and zoom a bit. We've just checked to see what this one is, what clip this is. It's the number 8, so let's just jump to it. Looks like we're already here. That's me probably saying something funny. That's why these guys are smiling, or maybe it's not. Now, should I put that in? Do we need it? Is this the end of this clip? No, there's more going on. Let's just grab that little guy. We can see we've already pre-marked these in the previous video. Yeah, I like that zoom. So we're going to use that. Let's just plus in here. Okay. I don't mind that type of thing. You just go bang and, you know, kind of give it a bit of a music video feel to it. Not that it really is, but it's just something fun. Boom. I think that's about the out point. We'll jump to the previous marker, do that little fast rewind thing. Incidentally, if you really want to know how to rewind quickly, but it's not the ideal way, double J, triple J, and you start really rewinding. But like I said, you're going to be finding yourself kind of clamoring and jammering. So you're going to want to do your shortcuts, to be honest. Have I just lost my little point? I did my out point. Okay, so fast rewind. Boom. Let me just see if I can't find it in real time. Let's just go press play, and you know, do I want to start here? And you might even cut there. So that could be our out point. So let's just have a look. Now, sometimes I'll just plus. Sometimes I'm jumping to a marker, or I can jump to the in point. So you can either be jumping to a marker or you can jump to an in point. It's pretty subtle in this case, so let's just make it a bit more obvious. Imagine that's my in point. So I can either jump between the next marker or the in point, or jump to the out point, or jump to the previous marker. So that's kind of what you're doing. You're either jumping between previous marker, next marker, or jump to the in point, jump to the out point. And you want to be doing that as well. And as I said, the markers go to in point, Shift I, go to out, Shift O. In my case, I use my shortcuts on that little thingy, the razor. I'll come up with a name for it. Believe it or not, it's called a razor Tartarus. Completely ridiculous name. Probably the gamers love that name, but it's absolutely absurd. Now, if I accidentally do something like that, which I think I just somehow deleted the in and out points, but that's okay. No, I didn't. I actually jumped. All right, so what we'll do, let's have a look. That's enough of that. I think this is about where you want to be. It's about right. Maybe even there is my out point. So I've indulged myself enough there. Once again, jump to there, go dot. Sometimes I like to test what I'm doing just to see if I'm kind of getting it right. Bang, and you can see that I'm thinking that's about where I want to be out. So just drag that in. Okay. Now, a couple of things you can do. Let's just test a few things out here. Let's just pretend I want this clip to go a little bit longer, the one that just went there and all the rest. Okay, what I could do, instead of kind of doing this, which is what some people might do, they drag one thing back and boop and all that stuff. What you can do instead is grab your ripple. If you press and hold, you've got ripple, rolling edit, and rate stretch. Well, let's just go ripple edit and see what happens, or the B key. When we grab this, we pull one, right, shorter, while we drag another one out. Let's have a look what happens. So did that work, or was that just my imagination? Okay, it's not working for us for some reason. Let's just try the other way. Okay. So what's happened here? Let's have a look. It gets a little bit tricky, and it's certainly one you want to be playing around with yourself, but let's just plus in there. Let's say we're not happy with the length of something and it's going a little bit too long, and as you can see, we can drag back the other way. So Control Z. So we're able to shorten. Okay, so let's have a look. So what's happened there is we've created a shorter clip. I'll zoom in here so we can see it a bit better. But put simply, the ripple edit's a bit weird in some sense. I find it's kind of counterintuitive, where I think I'm pulling something in and shorter and all this stuff, but you can see what's going on. It's pulling everything in. That's why I kind of zoomed in here. So let's make it exaggerated. We just pull everything across. So it's like saying, hey, grab everything on this side and just jam it across here. We're going to go Control Z, Control Z, Control Z. But let's have a look at the visually what it's looking like. That's the ripple edit. It's sort of like saying, hey, shorten this and pull everything across and all that stuff. We're just going to start here because it's quite a short clip. Okay, so there's absolutely no point in those two. That's just not even the way to go. Okay. Right? So there's not enough shift between those two clips, so we've got to do one of two things. Let me just Control Z for a second and see what happens. So edit, redo. So we got to about where we were. Yeah, so that's a terrible clip that I've put in there. I don't even know why I did that actually. So let's go back to the V key. And one of the things we can do is I believe we can hold Alt, backspace. And what that does, let's just do that again. Click, Alt, backspace, and what it does is it pulls the video out, but at the same time drag that back in, which is what we want. We certainly don't want what we were seeing there. Now, I think that's enough. Next will be, let's have a look. This is getting a bit confusing, so we'll zoom that out because I've got no idea where I am. I've got losing my bearings here. Just going to scrub through and see what's coming up. No. I was talking yesterday about downbeats. This is a downbeat, a moment of time in the video that's pretty much nothing, obviously. We're wanting something a bit more interesting. Hair dryers come in, and am I doing something interesting with the camera? It's kind of not that great. Let's have a look. It's probably a time where I could have shifted angles, to be brutally honest. This is something you notice later. That might be a bit better. Let's have a look. So I've got something starting, let's say there. And pause out here. Don't bore everybody. So we're going to jump to the end of this clip. Full stop or clearly that's the overwrite, which is that little period, okay, and that's what it's doing. It's just dropping it in. Okay, up arrow to stay there, and let's just have a look. We may or may not use that. This might be actually better. Let's have a look. I think it is. Now, boom, I think we're going to go about, mark that, and we're going to stop about there, and that's going to be our out point. Jump to the previous marker, in point. Once again, you can do the old rewind and then just see if I can't mark it again. Yeah, so somewhere about there is where I'm wanting that, and then let's see if that's actually better. What are we thinking here? Okay, so this is one of those things where it's much of a muchness. I've got to be honest with you, I don't think the shots are necessarily brilliant, but let's just get rid of that one and face is in there. Okay. Once again, Control S just to save that. So remember, save, Control S, yeah? Let's have a look. And I'm trying to see, why did I have Terence fully blocks camera, right? So that's what I wanted. Yeah, that's what I wanted. So I love the fact that he's gone and done that. So let's just have a look. Okay, so he's looking down, which is good. That's the in point. And that's definitely your out point. We're going to literally finish, go to the previous marker. That's our out point. As I said, I think that's a great way to exit out of this. Okay, so now, normally I'd have the music playing, which I think we need a little bit, but unfortunately we're getting this round loop between the mic and the sound, but it would actually be ideal. Now, one thing I'll say about music, and this is one of the things I've noticed when you have an edit and you've got music, music seems to be something that hides or blends cuts. So you get away with cuts without the music, but don't get too lazy. Sometimes it's good to actually mute the track. So we'll unlock it and just mute it so that you can sort of see without the music if your cuts are any good. Okay, so what we may need to do in this case is just to make sure we're not too similar in the shots. So one interesting thing we could possibly do, boom, we're getting a bit bored here. Notice we're getting a bit bored. What we can do now is find the quickest and easiest way. We can just do a cut. And then let's just try that again. Right? Do that. Now, back to the V key and press Alt Backspace. And let's just see if that does something a little bit more interesting. We'll go back a few clips. Okay, it's a little bit jumpy, right? So it's almost like we should choose one or the other, but not try to include both. Yeah, it's almost like, seriously, yeah, it's not good. So what we're going to do is get rid of this, Alt Backspace, because it's just not working, to be honest. Option 2, seems to be okay. We're not going to worry too much about it. So we'll save that. We're going to go to the end, and I think we're done with that. Let's double check that we are. There's quite a bit of this. Ooh, hang on a minute. We've got something going on here. This might actually work for us. So yeah, this is great. This is really good footage. So what we're going to definitely do, start marking this now. We definitely want this because this is about the first time we've got proper close-ups. Yeah, and I'm liking this, right? Now finally, we've gone in and zoomed in. We're giving people a bit of contrast, which is really, really important. Let's have a look. Just waiting. So once again, this is a time where I like to just let the video play. Boom. Probably not finished on those eyes darting around, so let's just go back a bit. And we finish just before she darts her eyes. There was something I was talking about downbeats. I could be wrong. Let's just mute me on the other situation. So in other words, we'll just go into a bit of theory, I guess. This is my take on it is, that's clearly not what we want. We see a downbeat, him grabbing that, I think, and then we're looking for an action moment, a really nice one. Maybe my camera's doing something a bit more interesting. Boom. So these are cool little... Not seeing a lot happening here. We're not seeing her either. And I decided to move a little faster with the camera. Let's just have a look. Now I'm just obviously deciding, can I shift around? So let's not bore you with this, unless I do something fascinating. And hopefully, let's see if this is actually interesting. So we've got, I want my camera to be sitting still because otherwise it's kind of weird. Let's see if this actually gives us a bit of a, boom. We'll mark that. I think I decided to go with the strokes. So yeah, something like that might work as well. So let's just go back, mark it. Now obviously I'm moving the camera tilt up and in reverse of his action. So maybe I decide to go back down. Okay, I actually don't mind the zoom out either. A lot of people say don't film zoom, but I actually find it's not so bad. So mark that. This is a zoom out. Okay, let's just go back a little bit just before it finishes zooming. It's a slow zoom out, so it's not too bad. I could have done it even a bit slower on the day. We've already done that type of shot, so let's not repeat it again, although it's quite nice. Just trying to see if I do anything a little bit more interesting. Okay, not necessarily. So what we're going to do is, yeah, I definitely like what we're seeing here. Let me just make sure I'm not missing anything. Yep, so we're definitely seeing this as being good. Boom, right? So I can see that being an endpoint. Let's just scroll back again. Bang, I'm liking that. And that's enough. So we're out on here. Okay, the tilde key, which is the key near the escape key, is what I'm using to zoom in and out, to jump in between these. So the tilde key is near the number 1, if you're wondering where that is. So it's the key on the next to the number 1 above the tab. So we're going to put that in. And notice, just in case you're wondering, how is it picking what I'm doing? Obviously, I've marked my in, I've marked my out, and when I press the full stop or the period key, it's dropping the ins and outs on the track that's selected, just in case you're wondering what's going on there. So let's just go forward a little bit. Yep, her eyes darted. Camera stopped moving. We're thinking this is okay. This is another thing about when to edit. Notice her eyes just closed. So I literally press space, and it's not a surprise that I've picked when her eyes closed. So now I'm going to literally mark in point when her eyes move back up. So let's just double check that I've done that. So I'll jump into the in point. Her eyes are just opened. Boom, and I think enough of that. Out. And we'll do full stop. So we can just see what's happened here by just jumping back. Press the up key. Let's have a look. Might as well have a bit of the music going. So just a little bit so we don't get this crazy. I'll stop talking when the music's playing, put it that way. Okay, now, just in case you're wondering, well, what do I do in a situation like this where I've kind of got a similar shot happening? You got this one that's sort of similar to the one that's going to follow. What you can do is then introduce a third shot, which is about the same length as that one, and we can do that in a second. And then we've got the rules of threes going. So there's something nice happening. So we'll go back, and we're always waiting for action to be already happening, I think, when we're cutting. Boom. It may not be as good as I was hoping. I was hoping there'd be a little bit more action for a little bit longer. So let's have a look. One. Boom, he's grabbed. That's going to be our in. So I've remarked the in. Bang, and that's our out, right? So we'll put that in there. Okay, and let's just see what happens. Not quite as good as I was hoping. We need that to be different. It does look like we're sort of jumping. This is what's called this isn't really the best type of cutting. What we would have probably been better off doing is, and this has taught me something about when I'm shooting video, is I need to be zooming in and out a lot more. Once you've filmed something nice and it's all good at a certain angle, let's say here we've got a close-up, you want to have now jumped in a lot closer, got her eyes and things like that. So that would have been better. So no, this is not a good shot, is what I'm basically saying. So Okay, that's where we're going to go to. Let's have a look. Is waiting for the zoom out. We're going to go back. So we've got fully, that's about as zoomed out as, out of focus as we're going to be. So we're going to mark that as an in. Okay, I'm going to mark an out. I'm going to show you a 3-point edit. And the way we're going to do it is this. Tilde, so we're going to get rid of the in and out. I'm going to mark an out point. So I'm happy with this out point, yeah? Then we're going to jump into here and we're going to sort of play around with this. We're going to go about there. We want it to be that long. So we're going to mark an out, move up, mark an in. It's a 3-point edit. So we've got point number 1 is the end of this clip. Okay, in, out. That's the second point. Third point is here. Let's just put that in and let's see what we got. Okay. Could this be the time where I show you how to do a ripple edit? So what we're going to do now is just double check the ending of this video. Yeah, we're happy for that to end sooner. So what we're going to do is zoom in a little bit. We're going to now do a ripple edit. Okay. Right? Or if we're going to be smart about it, we're going to press the B key. Okay, we've got a ripple edit happening here. We're going to pull this across. We're going to shorten it, which does one thing, and it should do this. Okay. What did it do? It shortened the video, but it didn't do what I was hoping. So let's go Control Z. So let's work it out together. A ripple edit is when you're shortening one video, right? But, so let's do it here. We ripple edit here. What we're saying is we're shortening the video that you can see being shortened, but we're pulling everything in front of it along with it. Great, that's a ripple edit. So a ripple edit is when you're pulling this video shorter or that video longer, but this video isn't really what we're trying to do. What I'd rather do is not a ripple edit. Let's do a rolling edit. I believe this is, now the shortcut for it is of course N. Now a rolling edit, I believe, is going to make this video, this video will go longer, this video will shorten. That's our rolling edit. We're going to do the N key. And now we're seeing one video shortening, right? While the other one is going longer, and we're trying to pull that out of focus stuff happen. Let's have a look. So let's just see what happened there. Okay, did we just see something funky happen? I believe we did. Let's just have a look. Okay, so a rolling edit, okay, which is this one here. We press the N key, and just remember, if I press and hold the mouse, I've got 1, 2. We're going to be playing around with these two. So the rolling edit means we're going to lengthen this video while shortening the other, and we can clearly see what's going on when we look at this. So now what this technically means is that I'd actually want this to end. So I'm looking at the first video, which is the one that's got 18, 53, 39, 13. I want that video with there's a close-up of the girl to actually end on some action, right? Now, but I'm just not seeing that out of focus enough. So what I'm going to do is press the V key. I'm going to pull that out to where I think it needs to end. Okay, I want it to end about there. So I'm going to pull it out to here. Okay, let's go like that. So but what we're going to do now is actually just grab that and just roll it out, right? So that's basically what we did there. Okay, where we had a little bit more of that going on. So Control Save. So all I did there was basically use the roll edit to pull one shorter, one longer, and find where that little balance was, and then you're doing something cool that way. Another thing you can do that's actually pretty cool in this situation is do what's called, let's see if I've got it here. It's this one. There's the slip tool and the slide tool. Let's just try the slide tool. I believe the slide tool allows us It's actually not doing what I thought it was going to do. And it actually seems to have made the cut a lot better. Let's have a look. Might have not done that. So let's just go Control Z. The actual tool that I want to use is the slip tool by the looks of it. The slip tool, I believe, allows you to click and then actually drag. So what's actually happening, I've picked out the moment where it's out of focus, just where it's out of focus, so about there. So what this has done, okay, is allowed me to grab that video and slip the video to the point that I actually want, which was the beginning of the out of focus moment, but not affect anything around it. So it's almost like going within that little cut point and saying, I just want to grab the video and slide that to where I want. I'm a bit confused about the slide tool. It seems to be just another way to, yeah, I get what the slide tool is. Okay, Control Z. The slide tool is essentially, you choose the clip and then you can actually, what you'll notice is that the slide tool is keeping the clip length the same. So notice it's keeping the clip length the same. So the clip that's actually here is staying the same, but it's making it slide in the timeline and everything else is glued to its end and it's moving the clip around. So the slide tool allows you to grab a clip and say, keep it the same, but just let me move where it is in the timeline and then stretch everything around it on the left and on the right. That's what the slide tool's doing. I Control Z that because that's not what we want to do. So you've got the slide tool, which means slide the clip, keep it the same length, but move everything left and right of it. We've got the slip tool, which is keep the clip the same length, but let the clip start point move, but don't move anything on the left and don't move anything on the right. These tools are instrumental when you're fine tuning, and I'm sort of pointing them out now because they're kind of helpful, but even I forget them because quite frankly, slip, slide, ripple, all that stuff, it's hard to understand what these guys are really talking about, but you know, you get what I'm trying to say here. The ripple edit, once again, it means pull this shorter, but everything that's on either end of it, so in this case, pull it in. So just muck around with it, even just grab some test footage, just dump it in and then play with these three tools. But essentially you know what this is. It's track select forward. So select everything in front of this track, and that's easy to remember. The obviously selection tool, that's obvious, you know, click and select the item. But where you're going to get confused and where you need to play around is the ripple, the rolling, the rate stretch, I believe. Let's just leave that out for now. I can't even be bothered trying to work that out right now. But the ripple, the rolling, and the slide and the slip are going to be pretty useful tools to understand what they all do. Once you've got your head around them, maybe just make some notes on a notepad to remind yourself, which is what I normally do, and you're good to go. That's that. I think we're done in here, unless I can find something a bit more interesting. I'm liking that zoom out. And what's interesting here, this is one of the things that I've learned to be a better videographer on a shoot day. Simply because when I come to edit, I suddenly realize, you know what? It's a great idea to zoom out of a scene at the end, and it reminds me of some of the shots I should do, and then I might make some notes of shots that I should be looking for when I'm on a shoot. Because what I've just realized now, just by watching this, that's really nice. There's something cool about transitioning from I think a close-up so we can see what we're doing there. Right, so we're going to just find that spot almost precisely at real time, so about there, right? So we're going to mark it. Okay, it's getting a bit confusing in here, isn't it? So we're going to actually zoom in and then tilde to just grab what we've got. Bang, I like it. That's looking pretty good. So we're going to go out and in. Now, the point I was trying to make was essentially what we've done here is we've found a point in the video that zooms us out, which is a way of telling the audience, hey, we're done with this moment in time. Let's go to something else. Other moments that are really good is when the person in the shot moves in front of the camera to cover it completely, black it out, and then bang, you're out of there. These are really good moments to look for. Let's just put that in there and see what it looks like. We might do a bit of the old bang, and then we're gone. And you can sort of see that that's actually a nice time to get out of this scene and be gone. Now, I'll press the V key, so we're selecting it, and let's go in here. Let's see what we've got. And that's just a slow version of what I just did. Okay, let's go to the next video. Okay, we'll tilde again. Let's just see what we got. We've got Terence smiling, which we might use. Let's have a look. The only thing I've got now is it's just an angle change. Is that enough? Okay, so we're about here. Let's just have a look. If you hadn't have looked up, we would have basically used that. Let's have a squeeze. Okay, out. Now what we're going to do, I'm just actually going to remove the in and out. We're going to make that as an out point. Okay, let's just go back a sec. Yeah, it's getting a bit lame over there, isn't it? We're going a bit long with this shot. So 1, 2, 3, 4, about there's enough. That's going to be our out point. So what we're going to do now is going to do a 3-point edit again. Actually going to listen to the music this time. I'm going to stop talking. We're just going to get the music going. So, marking in, marking out. We want this out point that's here, right? So this out point here is going to match that out point, and then the in point on this clip is actually going to come automatically. That's a 3-point edit. So the out point matches the out point. The in point in here is marked, but now that in point is going to be randomly made up by well, not randomly. It's going to be selected by the software. We can just have a look and see what that's done. Let's just get that music going. So I really like that way of editing. It seems to be nice. It's telling us that I want to finish on that moment, and then you seem to get these nicer transitions happening. Once again, Control S. So we're going to save that. In fact, I'm starting to think we probably are better off showing the hair. Okay, let's have a look. Now, that's the out point again. Let's just see what we can do here. Get the music going. So, mark the in point, mark the out point, and we've marked the out point here. Let's just have a look and see if we get away with that. Not really. So we've got this weird little jump, and that's clearly happening because it just... What we would have been better off doing on the shoot is zoomed in. So I would have been better off if I had it just zoomed in and then come down. That would have worked because it's a change in, in framing. Because we haven't done that, unfortunately, we're kind of really having to choose one or the other of these two shots. So what we're probably better off doing now is doing the following. We're actually going to delete those two clips. Okay, we're going to mark an out point, mark an in point, and then let's leave that there. Let's just go have a look at what we have now. I'm going to stop talking while we play the music. Another thing I've noticed as well, sometimes you'll see a video where there's just this jump, cut, jump, and all these cuts and all this, it's just too much. And I've seen absurd versions of that. I remember watching this video for paintball and there was probably about 50 cuts in a 1 minute clip. And I thought, what on earth did anyone see in that? There was nothing. That was clearly horrendous editing. I mean, it was just absurd. You couldn't see anything. It was just zoom and bang and burr. So sometimes once you've given people a lot of cuts and quick cutting, sometimes you've got to just stop and let them see something of a little bit of duration. It just gives them a bit of rest. So I think it's a good idea to not always be cutting like crazy. Let's just jump in here. I'm going to see if this was anything that I thought was worth using. Not really. He's drying the hair. I think that's enough of that. We're going to jump to this one here, which I think was something a bit more interesting. Do we show that? Not really compelling. Let's double check and see if we've got something in the next video. Oh yeah, this was my idea of doing the 3. Let's do that. So first thing we're going to do now is jump to the end here. Okay. The first thing that we're doing is we're gonna basically have 1, then 2, then 3 cuts. So I like that. There's definitely action happening there. So we've got an in point. Bang. Once again, the downbeat is when he reaches for it, so we definitely don't want that. Let's just go back again. Boom. Just before he reaches is our out point. We'll jump back to the in point again. Let's just have a look. Bang. We don't want to see that, so we don't need it. So that's going to be in there. Now, incidentally, you can color code stuff. So if you're not happy with your colors, just basically right click, label, and choose your colors. I did show in the first video how to change these titles, these names, and how to also change the colors themselves. So you're not seeing things like Caribbean and Forest and all these other silly titles. You just want to see purple, blue, yellow, pink. You know what those colors are, as opposed to Caribbean. Although you could get very creative and call it Fresh Forest or, fruit. Just work it out, whatever colors you want. But what we're going to do, we're going to go in and jump to the next. So we've got the shortcut going. Let's go before it a bit and see if I like what I'm seeing. Boom. Did she just crack a smile? That briefest of moments. Boom. And then she goes back to being stern again, which is a shame, but Terrence is doing something cool. Let's have a look. So, bang. We're not seeing enough action from him. So we're going to cut. Let's just try that again. We're trying to find a moment where Terrence is doing something fun. Right? So in. Boom. We're going to see that. It's going way too long, that shot. So let's just jump to the in point. Right? It's still too long, I think. We've really got to get these cuts happening a little bit faster. So what we're going to do now, bang. That's definitely out. But what we're going to do is remove the in and out, remark the out. Now what we're going to do here is just listen to the music and hear where it's at. So I'll stop talking. Let's have a look. So I've marked in, I've marked out, I've got the out point. Let's just put that in now. Let's have a look. So we've got that jump, which is not good. Let's have a look. Yeah, not going to get away with that. So that's not going to work. Let's have a look again. Now, clearly the issue is my camera work. I recorded at the same sort of framing. What I would have been better off doing is going, okay, let's record, let's say, it's a mid shot. Okay, it's a mid shot because we've got the middle of the waist. Then I should have zoomed in on this one and then maybe even zoomed in further again. So we would have gone mid, close up, extreme close up. Would have worked a treat. But unfortunately, I've kept myself in the same sort of position and we're not really able to get away with that three-piece, whatever the hell I thought I was going to do. So what we're better off doing then is not you doing that three thing because it's just going to look silly and quite amateurish. The only reason I like that is the steam coming off. Okay, so we'll go back. Let's just see if we can't find that moment better. No. Let's just try that again. Let's just finish on the steam. Okay, we're out. So okay, that's definitely out. Not 100% happy, to be honest. Clearly, that's it's bordering on a jump cut, which a jump cut realistically is actually jumping from one, say, mid angle to say extreme close up. That's not a problem. When you actually jump in time like that, it doesn't look right. But will we get away with it? We may not. Look, it's not hard though, is it? Even if we throw 10 clips after this and we decide that that's not what I like, I'll grab one, Alt, delete, one of those two will disappear depending on which one I think works better. But we might get away with it, so we might leave it in there. We'll just have to see. Look, it's not the end of the world. It is what it is. We'll mark that, label it green to say, hey, I've used it. Let's double check the next thing. We've definitely got a jump now in time, thank the Lord. We're doing something far more interesting where we see the pretty face of the model. So let's have a look. And Terence being the superstar that he is in terms of attention to detail. So I'm liking that. Okay, let's just do something here. Let's mark it. Let's do this. Let's just mark it. We're looking for action, remember? Yeah, I like that. So that's exactly what we want to see. Boom. We're going to mark. Bang. I love it, right? That's really nice. Now, interesting. What I'll mention here is notice when I pressed the marker, it's quite interesting that I marked as her eyes are closing. And if we go literally 2 frames early, I'm literally about a frame, I believe, away from her blinking. It's a good sign that I'm actually picking the right edit point, believe it or not. So, and then just as she's about to blink, I've made a marker now. I wouldn't have captured that. I would actually go about there, right? Just before she's blinking. So once again, I like to play real time and then go boom. Where I think it's nicer, then I'll jump to the first one and remove that marker so we're not confused. But as you can see, it was based on the book Walter Murch's In the Blink of an Eye. I showed it in the first part, but essentially it's cutting as the actor blinks. So literally cutting as they blink, but you don't want to catch the blink. You want to get a few frames before it. So we literally go there, and we've caught it just before she's about to blink. The next 2 frames, she blinks. Now we're looking for another moment of action, or in this case, where he's very precise, which I like. So we're going for a moment where he does a nice little trim. Let's go back a bit earlier. So go 1, boom. We're going to mark. Bang, I like it, right? Another nice piece in there. So we can use any one of these, but what I'm going to get at here is we're going to use one and not all 3. Beautiful. Love it. So one of these is going to be used. Now, if I had have zoomed in at some point, got an extreme close-up, or if I had have zoomed out and got a mid shot and then maybe, you know, a wide shot, then by all means I could have done some intercutting. That's certainly what you want to be doing. Generally speaking, a lot of good, I think, editors and directors will go for variety. They will not do mid shot, mid shot, mid shot, mid shot. The whole thing is mid shot. They obviously do mid shot, extreme close up. These things are very compelling and powerful. And obviously, as an editor, you start to realize, well, why have I stayed in a close up like this? Why didn't I zoom in? After about, as you can see here, we've got probably a minute and a bit. Why wouldn't I, after about a minute, suddenly zoom in with the camera? Just zoom in, get in close, and get a nice close up of something in terms of our hair. What we're going to do though is going to scrub forward. If nothing's happening, I'm not going to bother with it. So we're now going to choose one of these. Okay, we might actually go for that, although I think I was going... There's something nice about finding the out point. I find that seems to work for me for some reason. And then let's just go with the music again. Okay, so what I'm doing there is I'm obviously marking my out point in the clip that I want to use. Then I go into the sequence and kind of get a feel for it organically where I think the out point should be. Like just let it run normal, real time, and then go, yeah, I want my out point there. Then mark it like I just did, out with the O, back to the, and you get a nice, it's kind of weird, but it's cutting in reverse. It's like not trying to find it in there. You actually want to find it in the sequence where you think the out should be and where the in should be organically, and then let the clip do its thing. It seems to work nice, and there's no issue. It's just flawless, right? And this is not anything that I'm doing. Whereas you can see here, that doesn't work. So what would I do? Okay, I'll grab that clip, go, well, let's have a look at it. Let's see which one's more interesting. Okay, so we're going to do one of two things. We can, now I'm going to show you another technique here. Because we've got the snapping tool, we're going to go 1, 2, right? We can actually grab this clip and go Alt up, right? Drag one out, boom. Drag this one out, boom. Now, what have we done? Let's just have a look. All we've done now just remember, this clip can't be seen because it's buried under that one, just so you know, right? To hide that, we can see it's gone. Let's just have a look. We'll hide this clip. We can't see it now. Let's just see what happens when we do it this way. Okay. Do we like that? I don't know. Let's have a look at the other one. Maybe we get rid of that, right? So, because let's look at it. We don't want that jump that we saw, the jarring jump. Okay. Another option we've got. Okay, we stop there. We're definitely not interested in the downbeat of him reaching for anything. That's definitely not what we want. Her eyes are down. This is not what we want at all. Completely wrong. Okay, completely. Not at all. Even blinking is happening at this point in time, so we don't want that. Now, the only thing I can do to salvage that, to even remotely consider it, we're going to do what's called a slide edit, I believe it was. Or was it the slip tool? See, gotta love it. This is where your notes on the pad will be helpful. Let's just try something here. Now, okay, let's just see what happened. Yeah, that was probably more interesting. Okay, now, let's just try that again. Okay, I'm not happy with where it ends, so I'm just going to move to about there. We're going to grab this clip and drag it so that this time it finishes on a bit of action. Now, we might decide, you know what is that? That's not even really anything useful. It's not really doing anything, so we might get rid of it, but just gave you an idea of, can we salvage that clip, make it look more interesting? I don't think so. We're better off leaving that out. So the point I'm trying to make though, as you can see with the slide tool, the slip tool is all about, it's a totally useless title, really. It doesn't make any sense. The only thing you can do is write your notes down and say that the slip tool is all about grabbing the clip and everything on the left and on the right and everywhere else on the timeline is left alone. It's not touched. But more importantly, the clips basically being literally moved in such a way that we're picking the out point, right? And we can see the start point and we get an idea. So what's going on here, when we press and hold the slide tool, you can see that in the left-hand side, we're showing the beginning of the clip, which is him putting a hair clip in. On the right-hand side, we can see the hair sort of falling, you know. In the top right, we're seeing the next clip, the beginning of the next clip, and in the top left, we're seeing the beginning, the end of the last clip. But put simply, what I'm just getting at here is that we're slipping this video so that it actually has an interesting out moment, which is action. It should be action, as opposed to, say, nothing happening, which is probably something like that. That's a terrible time to end. So in other words, we go to the end of this clip and we see his hands pretty much doing nothing. Not a good time to end. It draws attention to the edit. Okay, let me just show that again. Sorry about that. It was the wrong thing that you're seeing. Yeah, terrible time to end is that moment in time where he's just doing nothing, right? You're far better off ending the clip somewhere like where the hair's literally dropping, boom, right? And even better would be like that. So it's got to be having some action, boom, right? So what we'll do then is move to the end and move it so that we can see the hair actually falling, right? We see the hair clip's gone in and the hair falls. That's what is a better ending. Let's have a look just to make sure I did that right. So, bit of action, but not a lot, and then it falls. But having said that, I don't agree that this is a better shot. I just wanted to show you a clip that I actually am not going to use. We're going to delete it, and we can now go V, and then Alt, press and hold Alt, and the down arrow, it drops it down. Just remember though, if there was audio on this, be careful that you don't just click on a video and bring it up a notch because it will drag the audio up. So to avoid that issue, you just right click, unlink the video and what have you. And incidentally, if you only want to drag in video, one of the reasons why we're not dragging audio in, I should have probably pointed that out, is because I don't have track select on the audio. Got it? If I now do the full stop now, you'll see the audio dragging in, right? So just Control Z that. That's why we're not getting audio, because we don't have track select on the audio track. Probably should have pointed that out a little bit sooner. Okay, we've done it. We've gotten through to there. We're going to try to get through this now a little bit quicker. Let's have a look and see if there's anything interesting happening here. Yeah, there is. There's this moment in time where he's actually trimming the back. Once again, great way to end a clip. I'm going to mark that. We're going to do an out point. Get the music going again. Don't you love it? So the technique is quite interesting, in my opinion. It's almost like your edits become a lot better because now you're focusing on what's at the tail end of the clip and getting that right. Because I think a lot of people do the reverse. They focus on the start of the clip and focus on what the start of the clip looks like, but then the tail end gets a bit weird on them, right? Which is not the way to go, because you've got to remember that this is a nice moment to end, because watch what happens after this moment. It will be what I call a downbeat. So while he's focusing on cutting the girl's hair, that's an upbeat, that's a moment of intensity, a moment of action and concentration. The downbeat is that. Clearly, that's a downbeat. That moment in the clip is not something you'd want to end on. So that's why picking the start of a video tends to, like if we focus on the beginning of the clip, what we end up with is something weird happening. So I find the 3-point edit is all about finding that end moment where you feel it's right, and then go into the sequence and feel where you think it should be and how long it should be. It should be short, 5-6 seconds generally is the average for a clip, and then kind of let it organically work itself out. All right, let's get into the rest of this clip, see if there's anything here that we like. Yeah, there is. There's a bit of hair drying going on. Now, as he moves away, did he do anything interesting? No, there's a downbeat going for the hair dryer. Yeah, so what we want to do now, let's just find this out point that we want. Okay, it stopped, so I don't want that. I want this actually lots of action, lots of flurry. Boom, it seems like it's about to end. We'll mark an out. Yeah, it is. We may even stop there, but we might just go back a bit. That's a nice out point, and then boom, no further than that. So we'll go back into here. We're going to get the music going again. Nope. All right. So I'm now seeing that as quite nice. Okay. Now we're getting the cuts where we want them. We can just see that I don't see any problem between these cuts. It seems like they should be there. And it's all because we've got action and we're finishing just that last frame, is action. There's action going on. There's movement. There's something fun. There's something interesting happening. And I think that's better editing overall. We'll jump onto the next clip. Okay, so we might see this happening. See if we can get her face in the shot. Yeah, that's looking good. So let's have a look. Okay, and he looks up at her. So that's our out point. We'll do it again. Let's have a look. We're going to play the music. Let's cue it. Now, one of the reasons why I don't use anything else in this clip anymore is simply because the framing is, let's call it a mid shot. If we're looking at Terence, it's a mid shot, and there's no change. There's no change in angle. Remember, when you do a change of angle, it shouldn't be a 10 degree. It should be more than 30 to 45 degrees in terms of the angle. That's not enough. So we're going to go to the next clip. We will not look at the basin. I see what's happened here. Don't ignore this. This is actually earlier in time. This is what we really want. Oh no, it's not. The hair is magically longer. Let's just go to there. This is what I'm talking about. Now we've got a better shot because we've just moved, right? We've moved to the front, right? It's spun around. We've got zoomed in, and now we're looking for a moment in time that's more interesting. Let's get this angle, because this is where we're going to be. Okay. Right, I like it. Her eyes going down and smiling is nice. Let's just find it in here. Nice. Now, the other thing we're going to do is probably abandon ship on this one. Yeah, I actually like me zooming in. I actually think the zoom in was cool. Okay, so notice she's not blinking. Now she does do a blink right there, so unless I missed it, did I miss it? Let's just have a look. So I'm going for a moment where she doesn't blink. Was there a moment where she just stared, or what's going on here? Okay, she was blinking. I wasn't paying attention. So let's have a look. Holds that gaze. Let's just go back. She held that gaze for quite a while. Bang. I think that's where she's about to blink. Okay, I'm going to try again to get that out point. Okay. I'm going to zoom in to the timeline on this thing. I think we're going to get away with it about there. Right? So that's our out point. Okay, let's just go with that. Okay, let's just try that again. Control save. So the other thing that's interesting about this is as we zoomed in a bit more, it's certainly more dynamic. And then you ignore the blinking. So believe it or not, some really good actors would have held their gaze, just literally held their eyes wide and just kept holding. And they don't blink anywhere near as much. And you'll find that that's actually a sign of good acting, believe it or not. That's Michael Caine telling people not to blink. That was his acting direction. Now, some of you probably think it's more dramatic to keep going there. So we'll go back a spot. About there. What we could do is compare the two. So we go shift, out, okay, in, and this time we're going to track select up here. Notice it's now highlighting up there, although the framing looks a bit wrong. Let's shift, down arrow, out, that'll do us. Let's just see what that looks like. It looks like it's one frame out, but let's just see which one's which. Okay, wow, that was oh, okay, we can't see it, that's why. Let's just make sure we're seeing it. Yeah, I don't think that works, simply because it's cropping the top of her head. Yes, we're closer, but that shot doesn't work for me because it's the top of her head. I really don't like it at all. Yeah, I don't think that works with the top of the head cropped. Okay. You can see my camera gear in the background there. That's critically important that people see the professionalism of this shoot. Let's see if we can... I don't mind it finishing there, although is that ideal? She's jumped out of the chair. She's fixing her hair and... Okay, let's do an out point there. Let's see what this music's doing to us now. So one of these edits is probably going to be a bit more low key. We could certainly do that. What I would do now with this video, you've got a couple of options. You could quickly send it to your client uncolor corrected. That way they just go, yep, that's looking good, we like it, go ahead and color correct, right? So before you get too involved in that process, what helps you there, of course, is that you don't go color correcting it and fall in love with your edit and then the client turns around and says, what are you doing? I don't like any of this, right? So the other thing that's interesting about this, we've obviously got more clips of her finished, photographed and looking pretty and all the rest with her cool clothes. But there's nothing wrong with, I think, this ending where it has, although I should have been thinking a bit straight and actually gone, hey, in terms of how you want to shoot it, this is actually not so bad an ending, believe it or not. I think it's got a doco feel to it, which I actually like. But sometimes the client may not want that, and you actually do two things. You finish on a natural ending, which is what this is. It's a doco feel. And then you could also shoot video of her just staring at the camera and you do your little pan across or whatever you want to do. And that way you cover yourself. What we're going to do now, though, is we could literally say to the client, stuff you, I'm doing this edit, this is what I'm doing. And you should negotiate that ahead of time with the client. Let them know that you're deciding on the music, you're deciding on the edit, in this case, the ending and everything else. If the client agrees, then by all means, go ahead. Look, this wasn't too bad. It was probably overall, if I really wanted to smash through it, I could have done this in about an hour and 20 minutes anyway. The color correction isn't that difficult, believe it or not. And I'll show you that in the next video. I think trying to plow too much into it in one video is just way too much. This is really about how to edit, how to cut, and the 3-point edit and all that technique. But if we go back to the beginning of this, before we sign off and look at what we've got, we're going to basically now, let's just zoom that in a little bit. So just going to drag that across until we get a little bit more of what we want. So let's just go back to the beginning now. Okay, I'll stop talking and we'll probably just let this run through. Okay, so the last thing I'll do here, music will end. Now, show you a couple more shortcuts just so you understand what's going on. You can actually drag this out, right? Boom, and snap it in there. And now this is what's become your work area, or in this case, your clip length. I don't mind the music tailing out. Obviously, when I send this to Audition, which I'll show you how we do that, we're going to send that to Adobe Audition. We're going to tail out the music. It's not rocket science, not hard. The music's beautifully scored. I love it. I think the song really does work for this video. There's just something about it. I love eerie, mysterious kind of music that kind of makes you not feel like everything's okay. I got to be honest with you, I like that kind of stuff. I love that kind of filmmaking. Now, there's no need to cut. Really, there's no need to cut that. All you got to do is drag your audio, bing, bang, boom, into where you want, and you're good to go. So if we just go plus, 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 that's all we're going to do, right? Now, the other thing to understand is that this will actually have his logo or whatever. We'll grab his logo or his whatever he wants, his branding stuff, and we'll just fade between those two. We'll show you how that's done, whether you send that into After Effects or not. Now, one of the things I can also do is get a little bit more interesting in terms of effects, which is what we're starting to do a lot more of. And that would mean, why don't we just do that, right? Press the backslash. So just so you know, this is actually going to be what we call the work area. When we go to export that out, it'll be the work area that gets exported. I think this is a beautiful little video. The client's going to be wrapped. I love it. And this is a really fantastic promo video to kind of put on your Facebook and to share, and people kind of get into it. This is what I would call a watchable video. It's got a beautiful, pretty girl in it. Obviously, it's going to get attention, but I really think that this video will do well. For a client that's already doing good things with their Instagram, being active, someone that's also active with their Facebook, meaning what, 1 post or 2 posts a day, then that's going to get you attention. Even now, I turn on my Instagram on my phone and actually record this for about a minute, right? And then I post that out. And that's yet another bit of stuff that I'm doing to let people know that I'm actively being creative. It's very, very important for you as a freelancer, if you're watching as a freelancer, you get your Instagram branding correctly. So obviously representing you as a business, not as an individual, as a business. And also your Facebook and everything. So this video will end up on my Facebook, will end up on his Facebook, it'll end up on my Instagram as I just literally take the camera and film what I've edited. And then all of that stuff's happening. He does it, I do it, and it's all about getting yourself out there. So after all this effort, I hope you guys, after watching this, I've just realized are promoting yourselves a bit as well, because it'd be very silly to kind of do all this cool work and no one knows about it, right? So Instagram, Twitter, Facebook it, the whole lot, right? You've really got to do that, because that's what's going to get you recognized as an artist. So good luck out there, guys. Hey, don't be shy about letting me know what your thoughts are, especially in the YouTube. I know I gas bag a little bit, but quite frankly, I don't have time to now edit this type of stuff. Wouldn't it be great if we could just go in and pause time and everything? We just can't. Anyway, I'm babbling. There's nothing useful here. If you want to give me a like, a share, or whatever you want to do, thank you very much. But in the meantime, we'll be doing part 3 of this, which will be the color correction. I don't think I'll be doing any more editing for this now. It's just not worth the time. I'll probably do something different with the Canon 5D footage, and we'll send that out as a separate video for the client. So the client will send this out as the, hey, look at me, I've done this amazing haircut. And then the second video I do with the Canon 5D footage, which is her doing a photo shoot, that'll be a separate video. We'll do that separately. But the next step on this video will be the color correction. Then we'll do a quick little, I don't think we're going to do any audio editing. In fact, I'll show you how we deal with the audio in the next video, but there's nothing to be done because it's so beautifully scored. So next step, part 3, color correction. We'll see you then.